guys, Youngblood with you, and what I wanted to do today was show you a new ground vehicle in the game in 3.17.2, currently on the PTU. We'll be joining live, and then will probably be coming for sale very soon. It is another Anvil Atlas platform vehicle, like you would probably expect. This one is the Centurion. What we've seen so far out of this Atlas platform is the ballista, where you have the Gatling guns up front, mostly for probably area denial of personnel, and then area denial through missiles and torpedoes, and the launcher out of the back. Past that, we ended up getting the Spartan. The Spartan was the version that's a troop personnel carrier, and now all of a sudden we have arguably the most beast version of all three of these. And it's kind of your mobile, it's not flak, but your mobile AA platform through a gun solution. Now, will at some point we have flak ammo and you eventually have that capability? Yes. But if we want to really just get down to it, let's take a look at what this is. The front of this thing is very, very similar from what you've seen. It's still an 8-wheeled vehicle. You do have two guns on the top of the main cab. Those are going to be attritions that are pilot controlled through a remote turret. On the back, you have 4 large guns. Looks like a radar display. You do have the ability to enter the vehicle through the port side. On the starboard side, it looks like you have a ladder that should allow you to climb on top. I don't know if that's ever going to be anything that you use or not, but it is potentially available to you. I'm still waiting for a point where these hydraulics on the bottom of this actually come down and give you supports to allow you to be a little bit more stable wherever you decide to mount up, hopefully preventing sliding and things like that. But either way, this is the Centurion, and this is the new one that's coming to the game. So I wanted to just show you a couple things real briefly, specifically the interior of the cab here. You can see it's basically the same layout because it's the same vehicle that we're used to driving. You have controls across the board. The most relevant one's going to be off to the right, the inner remote turret. Here you have 2 attrition 3s, so those are 2 size 3s. Obviously, you don't need to leave these. You could upgrade them to whatever suits your fancy. But 2 size 3s for the pilot is actually a pretty good loadout as far as this is concerned. If we think about the ballista, I'm pretty sure there's the size 2 Tiger Strike ballistic Gatling guns there. So there may be a situation where you could actually put 2 Mantis ballistic Gatling guns up here, if that's what you're really after. And that would be pretty scary, though, on a ground vehicle that's really designed to keep things away. This is more of a deterrent, and I think ammo is a big problem for that type of situation. So I would probably advise sticking with lasers, and I always prefer the CF laser line, so Panthers probably here for me instead of attritions. But everything's been watered down as far as stats, so it's hard to really know. Pretty good turret rotation, coverage, angles. The biggest problem here is that if anybody gets too close to you, you're not going to be able to shoot down enough to actually hit them. And then as you swing back, you naturally have to raise up and above the turret so you don't have any shots there. So just something to kind of be aware of. From the interior of the vehicle, some of this stuff is interactable. Some of it's probably TBD. You do have a weapons rack here, which is great. You do have lighting control to where you can set different conditions inside of your ship. And we will just turn that on to bright. A couple of these things actually work, a couple of them don't. Regardless, it's the same type of panel interfaces that you've seen where you can actually interact with the component itself. If you want to get on or off of the actual vehicle, you have the ramp that extends and drops down. That's how you get on and off the vehicle. And then here on the back is the gunner seat, which frankly is the money seat. It's actually pretty fantastic. You can see it says that we have 5 missiles. What do we actually have on this? I'm sorry, I should have probably prepped that. I don't see any missiles on this. I don't know why this would have missiles, but let's do this. I'm going to enter the remote turret. I'll shoot some stuff in the air, and then we'll take a look at what this thing actually has on board. What the main turret here on the back has, though, is 4 rhinos. 4 size 4 rhinos. These are big guns. This is basically strapping a Hurricane turret to the back of a ground vehicle. This is madness. 226 rounds with base configuration on your capacitor. I'm holding the trigger and talking. I don't know what else to say, and we've just gone through not even half of all the rounds you can fire, and we're already fully charged again. That is wild. The response time on this is incredibly snappy. And honestly, when I look at the platform of the Atlas in general and the usability and the feasibility of all of this, there's no denying the ballista from the perspective of scary when missiles work. And missiles are a lot harder to dodge when you're in atmosphere, so that is a really good asset to have. The bigger problem there is one, patch to patch, missiles are either effective or not effective, so that ground vehicle, as far as an investment, is iffy. The other thing, too, is if you're going to be in any place for any extended period of time, you're going to run out of ammo and then have to go, load back up. Now, if you're close to an outpost like I am here, driving 1,200 meters isn't that big of a deal, but it still comes with a cost. Having an indefinite source of munitions, being Rhino laser repeaters, being size 4s, you can engage at ranges that you may not even be able to be detected and certainly not locked by missiles. There's a lot to really like about the Centurion. I am very much in the category of don't buy ground vehicles in the game. I'm probably still in that category with this, even though we don't know the pricing on it. I could speculate, but why would I go ahead and, get in front of my own should you buy video? But again, I think this is the one that's kind of tickled my fancy more than any of the others when it really comes down to what this thing has to offer. So let's just go ahead and do a quick sweep of the outside. Make sure I'm not missing any missiles, because maybe I am and I'm just blind. But I don't know why this would come with missiles. I see the radar dish on the top. You have what looks to be maybe countermeasure launchers on the back shoulders. You've got the attritions on the front. You've got lights. You've got suspension parts. Yeah, I don't see missiles on this, and I don't know why it would. I'm guessing that's probably a carryover from the ballista's interface itself. If we get to a point where we find out that there are missiles, I will certainly retract that. But either way, that's basically the Centurion. And that's what we have to look forward to. As far as driving, it drives basically like the other two do. It's very hard to flip. It is long, but the turning radius is adequate at best. Pretty hard to roll, resilient to bumps and bruises. It's a tough little platform. So it's a fine addition to the game. I don't know how necessary it is at this stage, but it is a well-designed vehicle that has a very high damage output and is a really attractive option for locking down an area. Especially when you start talking about events like Jumptown, something like this could be pretty scary. And I think if you really look at it and say the idea is we want to pair a couple of ballistas with a couple of these, that becomes a very frightening way to lock down an area that can honestly be kind of hard to deal with. Ships are way more capable of killing ground vehicles, but it's so hard to get a lock on ground vehicles that are this size that if they can engage you at ranges that you can't get a good lock on them, it's kind of like fighting a ghost. So the value on these is starting to change, and I think that's a good thing. So anyways, that's the Anvil Centurion. I hope you guys enjoyed that first look. If you have questions, please drop them in the comments. Otherwise, appreciate you all watching. Stay tuned for a video about organizations coming soon, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Take care.